no, the third sequel to the first movie from 1974. Get that right in your brain. The third sequel to the first movie. Because they
And if it's a little
rebooted
confusing,
the sequel 3 times. Hello and welcome to Creepin' Real, the show where we watch the scary things so you don't have to. I'm Michelle, and today I'm joined by Lou.
hello.
And Alex.
Howdy, y'all.
Oh yeah, I should have done that.
That would have been better. Yeah, darn, scratch it, start again. So today, we watched 2022's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So the Netflix version, 2022 version. The 9th Texas Chainsaw movie, for those who are keeping track, and the third sequel to the first movie from 1974. Get that right in your brain. The third sequel to the first movie. Because they
And if it's a little
rebooted
confusing,
the sequel 3 times.
Yeah.
and if it's confusing, they took out the, so there's no more the.
Yeah,
It's
now
it's distinct.
Texas Chainsaw. So different.
So sequentially, this is the fourth one.
So this is the 9th movie, but the second one.
Wait. For this story, because you said it's
No,
a third sequel.
This is the third time they've done this sequel for the first movie. So let me list you. I'm prepared. Let me list this for our viewers who don't know the Texas Chainsaw world, the TCMU as it is called by I don't think anybody except myself. So we have
It is now
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, which had 3 direct sequels, one after the other. So then it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, then it was Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, then it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. Then they rebooted the series with the Michael Bay ones, which have Jessica Biel in the first of it. That was in 2003, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then
is that
they
the one
did
with Alexander Daddario?
No, I'm getting to that. Don't worry.
Okay.
Then they did
okay.
a prequel to the Jessica Biel movie, which they called Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which was in 2006. Then they did the next sequel to the first movie, which is Texas Chainsaw 3D with your girl Daddario, who is playing a 26-year-old character who should be 40. Just so you know, because that movie takes place 40 years after the first one, and she's a baby in the first one. Don't know. And then they had in 2017 Leatherface, which was a complete reboot origin story for Leatherface. That was in 2017. And now we have this movie, which is a sequel to the 1974 The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
I am confused.
Just put that like
okay.
little meme thing of the guy in front of the wall of conspiracies and just my face with Texas Chainsaw, because that's what this is right now. So now that we know nothing more about this and it's just we're doing more Leatherface shit, that's what it is. This movie is distributed by Netflix. The person who wrote it, the screenwriter, the person who did the screenplay, has done nothing else. The director has done nothing else. The people who wrote the story did Don't Breathe, Evil Dead, and Don't Breathe 2. So that's what we're working
Alvarez.
with. Yes. It was him and like another guy who does the directing for Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. He's also co-wrote the story. So that's it. So let's really briefly, not a real overview, I'm just gonna tell you. So I'm gonna start by spoiling things by doing a very, very, very brief overview because you don't need more than what I'm about to tell you. So this version of the story takes place about 40 years after the original story in which Leatherface kills a bunch of people. Now we are in Harlow, Texas, which is the same place that the original movie generally happened. And we have 4 friends by the name of Melody, her sister Lila, Dante, and his girlfriend Ruth. And they are here to auction off this random town to other young, hip people. They run into Leatherface, and then Leatherface does what he does best and murders almost everyone. That's the movie. That's the movie. That's the story. They're in this random town. There's also a mechanic who's there too, but he also dies. So that's that. The only thing that is different here is we get a return of the character called Sally Hardesty, who is the survivor of the original movie. So this is
the original final girl.
This is Leatherface's Laurie Strode. That's who this is, and she can use a gun somewhat.
Or Sarah Connor.
Or that. She's doing some stuff. She's trying to do some things. So that's this movie. That is the general story. By hearing me say that, you've seen this movie. So, with all that said, let's just start off with what was something we liked about the movie, like a favorite scene, perhaps, if we have one, followed by least favorite scene. And then we will do our favorite scare and our least favorite scare. Take it away.
You know what? I mean, obviously there's not a lot to like about the this movie, but I will tell you what I did enjoy, and gonna give credit to kind of like the cinematographer, because some of the shots look really, really cool. There's shots where you're looking up at the stairs and there's like a stained glass window, and it was cool, especially when Leatherface showed up. There was this also really cool looking shot of the sunflower seeds, and then kind of Leatherface pops his head out. I thought it was pretty cool. It looked nice. It gave the impression of the look of the original movie, like it's hot and it's just kind of worn down, kind of all that stuff. That said, everything else was garbage. I did enjoy Leatherface killing all the influencers. Is that, if we could call them that? That was cool. But the acting was bad. Sorry, what was the original question? What was I?
Favorite scene and least favorite scene. So
favorite scene. I already mentioned it. It's Leatherface popping out in the field of sunflowers. I thought that looked really pretty in kind of a morbid way. And least favorite scene was the entire movie.
Everything but the sunflowers.
Yes.
Okay, so the best. I'm sorry, I'm going to be arguing this, but like the best scene in the movie was that bus scene, like where it's just hacking away at the Zoomers or influencers, whatever you want to call them. Like it was absolutely grotesque, absolutely just worth watching that on like YouTube and like nothing but that was a highlight of the movie. In fact, like the gory parts were probably the highlight of the movie. And man, anybody notice how that old ass house, probably like 60, 70-year-old house, for some reason in the middle of like a commercial street, and like the old ass floorboards only creaked at very select times.
Yeah.
Not even when that fat Leatherface was clomping around, like he spooked people in the house. Oh, okay. And
big hulking Leatherface.
Yeah, I know. Okay, who's supposed to be like the likable characters in this? Because okay, there's the girl Lila. She's a victim. She was part of a school shooting. Okay, I understand that she's probably like your main protagonist. But like, who are you supposed to root for here? Aren't you rooting
Leatherface?
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, right? Because like Lila's sister starts the movie as a total douchebag. You have her fiance. No, not the fiance. Who's getting married? No, there's the blonde lady.
The blonde lady is with
that's
Dante.
The fiance.
Those two are together. Yeah.
Right. She didn't last long enough to actually have a character, but this movie's just riddled with really poor choices and unlikable characters. So and not to mention, like, honestly, the anchor of, like, for what I consider like the thing I dislike the most is that it wasn't original and it's just a platform for like a nostalgic reboot and calling on like nostalgia grandmas again.
Yep.
Dear God, Sigourney Weaver, I'm gonna tear out my hair in clumps when, and not if, when we see Sigourney Weaver in gray hair, you know, coming out of some deep cryogenic freeze. Like, well, I had enough of this alien queen or alien hive or whatever. I'm gonna spaz out. I'm gonna spaz.
Okay,
when that
but
happens.
isn't she though? Isn't there like another one?
They've been talking about it for years, but like now that they're doing the whole geriatric revenge, you know,
It's a thing now. It's a
genre.
Hollywood thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's we're gonna see Sigourney Weaver there. Ugh. So, not to mention Ghostbusters is another one where you see them all great and wrinkled up, looking like the California raisins. And they're like, oh, we got proton packs. View, view, view. Yeah, way to go, old people. I'm old too. Yeah. So yeah, I'll pass it to Michelle. I've talked enough.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Maybe unpopular opinion, but it surprised me, and it's the thing that stood out to me initially was the first glimpse of the school shooting. For Lila's character, like her background story is that she's a survivor of a school shooting, and that's why her sister's super protective of her. She has like a little like scar being shot, whatever. I've never seen that. And that was actually like, I couldn't think of another movie, specifically horror, really any that like had that inclusion. And I thought it was an interesting piece. And then they did absolutely nothing with it. And that's the thing that kind of got me thinking of, I think there's a new like subgenre of horror emerging. And I think we're starting to like notice it more. And I can't think of a better name than like woke horror. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much because they do things like that where they
said it.
I know. Coming from me, like, this is crazy that I'm like so spicy about this, but they keep including things like this. Like, I'm currently watching another movie and like they did another thing like that, and it's just pissing me off where it does nothing to add to the story. It's nothing for the characters. There's no relevance. They're just doing this extra shit to like ground it, I guess, in current times, but it feels so inauthentic that it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
they're just shoehorning it in and then just be like,
Yeah,
here, do
you're
with
like,
it what
look,
you will.
this is for the kids. This is for kids. Look. We talked about TikTok. Oh my god, we use pronouns. It doesn't do anything.
Oh,
like if
you're gonna get canceled.
literally, that's what I'm talking about. Like things like that, which could work if they went full satire, full funny with it. That's not what this movie was. You can't have that moment and then the gore fest that happens afterwards. Like after the guy says the getting canceled thing, that precedes Alex's bus scene, which is the most gore I've seen in a very long time. Like that was insane. But circling back, I liked the idea of the school shooting victim trying to like survive. Like that felt like it could have been a really cool character beat. And then they do nothing and they have her fire a gun without any type of like, I thought there was gonna be a moment of her not wanting to pick up a gun or feeling some type of way about a gun, which would make sense in my mind for this character. And then they just didn't do anything about that and they did nothing with it. And she just was like, I'm gonna shoot a gun and everything's crazy now. So that didn't work. But for one little nugget, I thought they had something. And then the rest of the movie happened. As far as my least favorite, I have to do a little shout out to Lou's Sunflowers because they spoiled it in the actual Netflix like promo. So when you're scrolling over the movie, it's the static image. It's just this little face sticking out of the sunflower. And without the context, it's hilarious.
I want to frame that.
When I saw it in the movie, I chuckled because it's like, that looks stupid. But I could see why it would have been good if you hadn't seen the still image earlier. I feel like that could have been better, but that was not great. And then probably, sorry, go ahead.
So Michelle, I want to circle back to the whole woke horror that you mentioned, because since you brought it up, and I'm Alex trashes woke culture. No, it's nothing like that.
I opened the floodgates. I started it, so like cancel all of us. Let's go.
No, like in a sense though, like not to poo-poo on it, but like that scene of the school shooting, that also seems ingrained in woke culture and like a really cheap tactic to not do anything with. So like that's why it's also part of that. And not just that, like the movie has no firm stance on guns good, guns bad. It starts out one way, and you see that like the redneck, the hillbilly's gonna have, oh, he's gonna be a three-dimensional character, gonna get flushed out, you never know. But no, it's like the girl who was traumatized by guns ends up using a gun to no avail because like nothing happens. There's no character arc. It doesn't end. It goes nowhere. So like the messages go nowhere. They're just like shooting off all over the place. So
yeah,
that's it. It wasn't as spicy.
No, I was like, that's literally, I agree. That's my problem. I liked it until it went nowhere. And then I was like, what? So so moving forward from those scenes, what was your favorite scare or something that like worked for you, and what was your least favorite scare?
So I can go first. I don't even really know if there was like a favorite scare per se, but except maybe just, again, it was mentioned earlier, just the violence, everything was gruesome. So I mean, in a movie where the writing and everything else kind of sucks, you had to find something to just enjoy it with. And though there was no jump scares or anything, or I think there was attempt at jump scares, but it didn't work for me, at least. It was like the goriness, like the chainsaw, the gut raising, that grandma that should have just cut her in half but didn't, so whatever. So that is, I guess, my favorite scare, right? We're talking about scare. I'm getting lost in my thoughts again.
That's, and you nailed it.
And least favorite scare, because I called it beautiful earlier, but it was kind of just funny, of his head just popping out, like the most random thing. It was like, oh, Leatherface, hi. It was cute in a weird way. It shouldn't be, but that's it.
How did that grandma survive that mauling, that thrashing, that just chainsaw in the gut? And she got, like, I feel like there's symbolism in her getting thrown into a pile of trash and the movie also being trash. So there we go. But kudos to her for healing, having Wolverine level regeneration. That's really cool.
She had a med kit, and just
or like in Resident Evil Village, just on the hand.
Yeah, some goo, just some goo.
It's like, all right. All right. Favorite scare, I'm gonna say, I don't know, probably when the hillbilly dude was fighting Leatherface, and I thought, like, okay, he might not die. We might see more of his character, develop. Me thinking it was going to be an okay movie, but that caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay, and then it just like mashing him. I remember the original movie, like it was. I think it was the original. Like the hit on the head with the hammer was just like this ugly sounding thud, just a thwack. And like it sounded realistic, nothing more than that. It just somebody twitching, like a body twitching, and that was it. It was like that was a dead person, and it felt dead. And this movie, it was just overkill, just mashing it into like paste. So, I guess style differences, right? Least favorite scare, the beheading at the end, because it was like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, should have figured that, a chainsaw that bludgeons, like, what the hell was that? Like she hits him in the face with the chainsaw, with the revving chainsaw, and like it was like a hammer to the face. Like, what?
No blood at all with that hit.
Yeah, like, and he got shot once or twice point blank with a shotgun as well. Yeah.
And this is a dude with he's there's no supernatural element to him, and this is 50 years or 40 years after his heyday. I mean, shouldn't he be able to not run that fast and be that nimble?
He would be like 60
or
maybe.
70 or something like that.
Sound like at the bare minimum 60 years old and like living in that house. Like, I don't know how he's keeping up with his fitness, but it doesn't seem accurate to
Does
me.
CrossFit in the morning.
Yeah, that's why he's as tough as nails. So my favorite scare was probably, well, the gore was good. I liked the gore. It was super gory. And the reveal of Dante's face, of his like jaw being all like mangled, I liked it. That was really cool because in that original scene of him getting hit, you don't really, like, he gets hit in the front and you don't really know where he gets hit. And then he falls down. And I'm like, this dude is dead. Like, I'm counting him out at this point. I'm like, he's out, he's dead. And then he's up and moving. And I was like, hey, that makes no sense. But then when they revealed how he got hit and where he got hit, I was like, okay, feasibly he could get up and be that gross. And it was gross. It was really like the opened up jaw. It reminded me of the Leatherface movie in 2017, if you guys saw that. But Leatherface gets shot in the face and he has a very similar injury. And I just thought that was kind of a cool moment. I know probably not intentional, but I was like, yeah, that's kind of fun. My least favorite was the car crash, like the ambulance crash scene. Because the reveal of him putting on his grandma's face. He like, you see him putting on the face and he's like, and he does one of those turns and it just got, I was chuckling so hard. And then just that entire sequence, it's supposed to be really tense with what was her name, Ruth, stuck. She's like, doesn't know how to undo her seatbelt or something for like 20 minutes, it feels like. She's just kind of fumbling around. And he's like, he's on that side. No, he's on that side. And it's like trying to jump scare you, but it's so stupid because the whole time you're like, girl, you just take off your seatbelt. Just, you can leave. You're good. You can go. It didn't work then. That was like that was the first sequence of kills in the movie. And when the first sequence of kills was so bad, I'm like, I don't think it's going to be a good movie. So that's what happened. So that brings us to our final thoughts and our score out of 5. So who wants to go ahead?
Okay, go ahead, Alex.
I'll just be quick because like I already trashed it. I said most of what I said, but here it is. It doesn't get to the level of so bad it's good, unfortunately, like a lot of other horror movies. So it's generally just bad. Between choosing between 1.5 and 2, I guess I'll go 2 because it's Leatherface. You don't get to see him much, and yeah, there he is, Leatherface. 2 out of 5.
Yeah. So what I learned from this movie is that if one of the creators publicly say that they're going to be very kind of honoring the original, the movie's probably going to suck. Some visuals are really cool. Overall, the storytelling was just garbage. The acting was garbage, and the violence and gore was cool. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Well, we're all on the same page. I'm also giving it a 2 for very similar reasons. Though I feel like stop doing sequels, stop trying to remake things, or if you're gonna do it, stop paying so much like to the original, because we've seen the original and we love the original and you can't beat it at this point. Like, it's been tried so many times. And also the argument I will make for Leatherface is like, I don't care why he does anything. Like, we don't care. We literally do not care. Most of the original movies, there was zero of what the hell Leatherface is up to. It's his family's cannibals, but you don't even know his name for half of them. And then they changed his name also, which is another problem I have in like the world of Texas Chainsaw, is like they changed the family name. But moral of the story is like, just let Leatherface murder and it'll be fine. Don't do anything else. I don't care. Stop it. But like, stop now. Because we've seen 9 and there's only so many times that we can just watch him like murder people when there's other murder movies that are doing more creative things. Because at this point, we've seen a lot of chainsaw kills. Also, stop throwing chainsaws. That doesn't work. They like toss a chainsaw to the other person. They grab the chainsaw. There's no way you could do that without hurting somebody. That's ridiculous. So please stop. So with all that being said, this has been Creepin' It Real. I've been Michelle. I've been joined by Lou and Alex. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel about Texas Chainsaw and all other horror movies in the comments somewhere. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.